Was good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So first things first, before we get into the video, man, I gotta go ahead and say thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. Thank y'all, the Rich Gang family. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. If you want to join the Rich Gang family, be sure to turn on post notifications, hit that like button, and be sure to drop a comment down below when done. So, as y'all can see by the looks of the title and the screen, today I am bringing y'all the top 3 most broken two-way builds coming at y'all on NBA 2K22 Next Gen. Now, the first one I got lined up for y'all going to be called the two-way pass first wing, and all of these badges, when it comes down to these builds, are going to be over 100, y'all. So with this build, we're going to be going with 6'7". As for the weight, I'm going to go with 181, 7'1" wingspan, and this is pretty much what the build is going to be looking like when it comes down to the physicals. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the stats. I'm telling you, everything about each and every one of these builds is going to be very special. On this one, however, you're going to be able to get contact dunks once we do adjust the vertical, but 22 badges when it comes down to the finishing end is something that I really like about this build on the inside. Now, when it comes down to the shooting, you're definitely going to be able to hit at ease, especially depending on which takeovers you pick, as well as if you end up buying boost for the shooting on this build. 24 badges right there. Then when it comes down to the playmaking, you're going to be 6'7", but you're still going to be able to get a good amount of solid playmaking badges, being 26. And then finally, when it comes down to the defensive end, this is probably the most important factor about this build. We're going to be able to get close to 30 badges. If you want to adjust anything, you definitely can do it to where you get that. But honestly, 29 with my liking is going to be perfect. Now let's go ahead and take it a step further. We're going to go ahead and get into the physicals. Max out that speed, acceleration, 70 vertical. Then when it comes down to the physicals, the most important part is at least getting that threshold of 90 for the stamina. Now, if you feel like getting more badges or extra in a certain area of this build, you definitely can do so. Again, this all comes down to your personal preference, the way you see yourself using this build, as well as if you can make it to your own liking with the badge counts that I did bring to y'all. But remember, the takeover is going to play a huge factor in each of these builds, plus 10 to whichever area of the build that the takeover is going to be applied for. So as you can see, slashing, shot creating, sharpshooting with the lockdown defender takeover. So for my liking, I would first really consider ankle breaking shots, shot creating takeover, or extreme clamps. But if you want to, you can definitely throw on a sharpshooting as well. It all comes down to what you want to do. I'm going to leave that option up to y'all. I'm going to go with these takeovers. And as y'all can see, the build we have made together is going to be called the two-way pass first wing. And I love the comparison of Jaylen Brown, y'all. Really goated comparison in my opinion. The builds are only going to continue to get even better. So let's go ahead and get into the second one out of the 3 that I got lined up. And as y'all can see by the looks of the title and your screen, we're going to be able to make the 100 plus badge two-way slashing playmaker. Now with this build, it is really going to remind me of the two-way slashing playmaker that we have seen in previous 2Ks, y'all. This one, you're going to be able to get contact dunks, shoot just as good as any other build, but the thing different from this build and previous two-way slashing playmaker builds is that this one is going to be up to 6'7" on the height. Really huge compared to the past ones, and again, that is one of the main reasons why it makes it so much more better to add to this list on the top 3 most broken two-way builds coming at y'all on 2K Next Gen. Let's go ahead and get into the making of this build now. So normally in the past, this build would be made out of the point guard or the shooting guard position. Today, we're going to be making it out of the small forward, and the reason why I am is because honestly, the small forwards get a lot of extra badges, attributes, and the way that you make them honestly is very unique compared to any other position when it comes down to next gen. That's just my opinion and the way that I see things through. Now let's go ahead and check out these physicals real quick. As you can see, for the height, I'm going to be going with 6'7". Then, when it comes down to the weight, I want to go with the lowest possible that I can to where it does not affect my physicals. I'm going to go with 181. And then as for the wingspan, I'm going to go ahead and put this to 7'1". Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the finishing side of things. So what you want to go ahead and do here is just be sure that you're going up to a 92 driving dunk. That's going to allow us to get not only the pro contact dunks, but also the elites once we do adjust our vertical. 24 badges for the finishing end, not bad, but when it comes down to the shooting, we're also going to be able to get another 24. The shooting is really solid on this build. Let's go ahead and move on to the playmaking now. As you can see, we're going to be able to get gold bullet passer, but then on top of all that, we're able to get a bunch of playmaking badges, being 27. Now let's go ahead and move on to the defensive end, probably the most crucial part about this build. So as you can see, when it comes down to it, I'm really being specific with where I put my attributes into. Now, for the defensive end, I'm really happy with 22 badges, but remember, you will be getting a +8 once you max this build out and if you completed each and every season to get that extra attribute badge upgrade. Now, let's go ahead and get into the physicals. You got to go ahead and make it to where you get at least an 80 vertical, max out that speed and acceleration. And then as for the stamina, this all comes down to what you want to do based on your personal preference. But I'm telling you, as long as you go with at least an 82 and up, you're going to be okay. Now, if you want to, you can definitely take some off of your free throw in order to get a much higher stamina. This all comes down to the way that you see yourself using this build. If you feel like going with anything else other than what I show y'all, you definitely can go about it any way that you feel comfortable with. But I promise you, as long as you follow up with what I'm showing y'all, you're still going to be able to get the build name. Now I'm going to go with the shot creating and sharpshooting takeover, and as y'all can see, we have made the best shooting two-way slashing playmaker build. And I'm telling you, like I said earlier, if you are still watching, go ahead and let me know, what did y'all think about the first two builds that I brought out y'all? And again, also, if you are making a specific one at the end of this video, let me know. Now let's go ahead and get into the third and final build, the Kevin Durant two-way slashing shot creator build. 6'9". I had to adjust the height on this one to make it a little bit different compared to the other builds, but I'm telling you, if you're going to be wanting to run a bigger build that's going to be taller than 6'7", this is going to be the build for you. I'm telling you, this one has to be my favorite because it's really going to match up well when you compare it to a player like Kevin Durant, as well as possibly even Giannis. Now, since y'all made it this far, you might as well go ahead and hit that like, turn on post notifications, and hit that sub button. Now, let's go ahead and get into the making of this build. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is put this build under the small forward position. Then from here, honestly, there are a lot of different things that you can do when it comes down to the physicals, but I promise you, going with 6'9" is going to definitely be the wave. Then when it comes down to what you're able to do with the 190 weight and a 7'4" wingspan, really going to take this build over the top, and I promise you, this build is really going to be able to play like Kevin Durant, especially if this build is in the right hands. So what you want to go ahead and do is just make sure that you do max out that driving dunk. I promise you, from there, everything is really going to work out in your favor when it comes down to the inside. 28 finishing badges is something that I really do like about this build, but then when it comes down to the shooting, just as good, if not even better, making this build more versatile and able to take it into any game mode with that free throw. Now, when it comes down to the playmaking, we get 23 badges, but a 77 ball handle, and you have the potential to get up into the high 80s with boost, y'all. But let's go ahead and get into the defensive end. Let's see what really makes this build a two-way, and I'm telling you, you're definitely going to be happy with what this build is able to come out with, especially if you do add boost, run with teammates that do have floor general as well as defensive leader. Then we still get that 80 threshold for the vertical. Stamina is looking really good, and I'm telling you, the only thing that's going to make this build that much more better is honestly going to be the takeovers that you pick. But this is pretty much what it's going to be looking like. 28 finishing badges, 25 shooting, then we get 26 defensive, and then 23 playmaking. Now, if y'all like this build, go ahead and let me know. What do y'all think about it below? And also let me know if you think this build is going to be able to play like Kevin Durant. Now, let's go ahead and get into these takeovers. So it really all comes down to your personal preference with which takeover you want to pick. We do get the glass cleaning, lockdown, shot creating, and the sharpshooting. I'm really going to leave that option up to y'all. The first one I'm going to go with is going to be a pull-up precision or ankle breaking shots takeover. Again, if you are still watching, man, just know that I appreciate you. Thank God for this opportunity. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Anybody who wants to join the Rich Gang family, be sure to turn on post notifications. Hit that like button and drop a comment down below when done. Thank y'all for finishing it through. Let me know in the comments which of these 3 builds are you going to make. And man, with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.